Michael Mackniak, founder of the CARE Coalition, through his session, Buckle Your Seatbelt, the crew, the co-pilot, and the captain, will take us on a journey where the pace of scientific innovation meets the lived realities of patients and families at home. You'll discover how every role, from caregivers to clinicians, shapes the recovery journey and why aligning medical progress with real-world needs can bridge critical gaps and deliver outcomes that really make a difference. Let's explore how to reclaim agency in healthcare. In our day-to-day, bring patient-centered care to the forefront and rethink what it truly means to innovate responsibly in a rapidly evolving industry. Please join me in giving a big round of applause for our speaker and bronze sponsor, Michael Mackniak, as he takes the stage. Michael has trained audiences across the United States on proactive, data-informed approaches that reduce costly interventions and strengthen continuity of care. Please, Michael, take it away.
There's a lot of heavy stuff that we're going to talk about throughout this week. And I'm going to talk about heavy stuff, not just my weight. My specialty is focusing on folks with mental illness. I've been doing it for 30 years, and I started an agency back in Connecticut called Guardian Ad Litem Services. I'll tell you all about that if you're interested at the booth and whatnot. But one of the things that I've really become interested in is the need for all of us to remember the families of those who are ill, be it with mental illness or any other type of caregiving situation. These folks that are the caregivers in the community are doing yeoman's work. They're carrying the load when the patient leaves our office and whatnot. So that's kind of the theme, if you will, of what I wanted to really express to you today in my talk. And I don't think I'll be here taking up the whole time. So please join me on this ride, So let's get into it. Okay, so it's nice to see you all here. This microphone seems to work a lot better. I could hear myself back at myself. So welcome to Las Vegas. Congratulations, you made it here. I assume that you all got upgraded on your flight and the Wi-Fi worked perfectly, and I can't say stewardess, flight attendants were very upfront about the mechanical delays. I assume that to be true. Luggage didn't get lost. Luggage got here before you did. And since you're all here, I think we should give ourselves a round of applause that we did not get kidnapped by ICE. It's too soon? Is that too soon? So here we are in Vegas at this amazing conference to see some of the cool, shiny objects in this tech community and everything that's coming out in the future. And that's fantastic. In fact, I brought my own shiny object with me. Who's laughing? This guy's laughing. I'm not talking about my bald head. I'm talking about this cool, super awesome book that I designed that I want to talk to all of you about, but I don't have to do that up here. I might in a little while because it's a shameless plug at some point. But yeah, so I brought my shiny object and my shiny object to talk to you guys about. But really what I seriously want to talk about is the 30 years that I've spent in the jump seat, if you will, of working with families, both as a conservator or guardian, as well as an attorney representing families, particularly those, as I say, who are struggling with mental illness. These folks are trapped in a situation where we are strolling along up here with our technologies and whatnot, and we're at a 30,000-foot level very often. And some of the stuff that we've already heard talked about this morning, some of the things you walk around and see, you're at a 30,000-foot level. Meanwhile, our families feel like they're grounded. If you haven't noticed, I'm going to use an airline analogy throughout this whole day, so get used to the idea. Buckle up. This is going to be a bit uncomfortable, certainly for me, and I hope less so for you. So hold on a second. Bam! Ladies and gentlemen, flight deck. This is recorded. Can you hear me okay? I can do this for the next 40 minutes if you'd like. Let's not do that. Let me take these off, so in case I have to read, I could actually read. From the flight deck. This is Flight 5150, sponsored by the CARE Coalition, on our way to a better understanding of living and caring for folks with mental illness. Please ensure that your safe belts are fastened because, trust me, in this world of mental illness and caregiving, we're in for a ton of turbulence. We also anticipate delays. We expect mechanical difficulties. There'll be gate changes along the way, and your luggage is definitely getting lost. We may even change your destination, and if we decide we're going to do that, we'll let you know when it's convenient for us. Prior to reaching our cruising altitude this afternoon of total bureaucracy, please remain seated. Keep your Carekeeper journal handy. This is the only real, true black box that tells the truth about everything in this airline. We know that you guys have choices. And as caregivers and as family members, you did not choose to be here on this flight. But here we are, we're in it together. Hopefully, we can get you someplace where we can land. Eventually. Let me flip through my slides while they're behind me. Luxuries on this flight, like Wi-Fi, blankets, pillows, air conditioning, that's not part of our business model. We also don't have wine. You can't have a smoke break. I hope you went to the bathroom 25 minutes ago. You might get some chips if you're lucky. Expect sudden changes of altitude. Also, attitude, if you know what I mean. See what I did there? Expect garbled, screaming voices coming at you overhead, especially when you're trying to nap. Your overhead baggage will certainly shift during this flight, particularly your emotional baggage. Honestly, just leave your emotional baggage at home. Okay, hold on a second. You guys are going to love this. I saw Stevie Nicks one time. She changed her outfit 14 times in an hour and a half. I can't even change a hat that fast. Or gloves. But watch this one. Yeah, I did buy this stuff for you guys. Now I'm the stewardess. No, I'm the flight attendant, not the stewardess. Okay, so. Now, ladies and gentlemen, if you will, please direct your attention to the safety card in your seat back pockets. Read it carefully. You got it? None of you even reached for it. Okay, never mind, we don't have it anyway. I was just kidding. There are no safety features on this airline. There's no emergency exits. Once you're in it for the long haul. Psych! I don't have any of the answers for you, and frankly, neither do you. Are you feeling like you might need a barf bag right now? Tough, we don't have those for you either. Sorry that I have to do this. In the event of a sudden drop in communication, which let's just say it right now is 100% mathematical certainty, a 40-page HIPAA disclosure form is going to drop from the ceiling, and you're going to be expected to read that and understand what it says during the smoke, the tears in your eyes, the feeling of utter doom. Also, when we lose cabin pressure, there's going to be an oxygen mask that's going to drop. Now, be sure to put this on yourself, because if you don't do it, nobody's going to do it for you. And by the way, if you don't put it on yourself, you're not going to be any good for the person that's sitting next to you who you really care for and really needs your help. You got to put this on during your shortness of breath, maybe smoke in the cabin, who knows. Sometimes you're going to feel like you're isolated from your family and your loved ones, but don't you even dare think about changing your seats. That's just not allowed anymore on any of our airlines. In the many stops along this journey, you'll feel like you're stuck. You're stuck on a carousel. You're going to feel like it's terminal. There's a constant sense of doom. There's a constant line of people who are punching this ticket over and over again. We see more and more families who are coming onto our airlines to get a seat in the mental health industry. Well, we're pretty filled up. Prices will go up, help will go down, and if you're looking for consistency, you picked the wrong flight, buddy. You're always going to have a short connection, and you're always going to feel like you're running like hell to get to it. So, that's my costume changing act for you for the day. Check this out. I learned this at the Rhino last night. Just kidding. I don't even, is there a Rhino? Somebody told me about it. I wouldn't know. For the folks that I represent, this analogy, this airplane analogy, which I came up with not just yesterday, although it wasn't that long ago, even though I may seem like it, this analogy is not just, wait a second. This is not just an analogy, right? For these folks, this is their everyday. This is their Tuesday morning. This is their sitting around in the waiting room. This is their crummy coffee, that you get served when you go to the hospital cafeterias. These are the people who are hoping that the phone rings at 2 o'clock in the morning saying that their daughter was arrested so that at least that way they know that somehow, some way she's going to get somewhat of a good night's sleep tonight rather than being on the streets all the time. That's the sad reality that folks who are trying to care for a loved one with mental illness go through every day. I had a woman once tell me that she wished her daughter had brain cancer because that way at least people could understand it, as opposed to trying to get their hands around a mental illness. Is this changing that? Look what I found, you guys. Cool. I put this whole thing together and I didn't even use it. Look at that. All right. I do appreciate the talk that we just heard. I do appreciate this concept of AI. As I said, I hope it takes my job. And I really do appreciate all the innovation in that we're going to be seeing here this week. We live in this era that is just an amazing with the clinical advancements. Heck, I'm even using AI right now, and I don't know much about computers at all, but it really does help me with podcasts and things like that. We have this 2026 technology that is so sophisticated. It could tell us where a package is being shipped from, Guam to Costa Rica at any given time. We have all this data. But all of you healthcare providers out there, and we just heard this from the panel that was here before us, this data, this is not relationship. In my estimation, and I think I think they would agree with me, we need to get back to this concept and maintain this concept of relationship, communication. Remember that? Does anybody remember laughter? Led Zeppelin, remember that? We have to get past the what of a diagnosis and remember the who of the diagnosis. And I think that's the important lesson that I try to impress upon people in the work that I do. We can't be so obsessed with that what and get rid of the who. We've become automated to the point where we've detached, in my opinion, some of the humanity of what we do. What we need is this technology right now, this 2026 technology. But Why not get back to that 1950s bedside manner? We need to get back to the basics of communication, as I say, because if we have during that safety briefing that I gave you, I don't have all the answers, and frankly, neither do all of you. The answers aren't just in that data. The answers are these poor guys that are sitting in those plastic crappy chairs in the waiting room that are scared to death. Let's be honest, when the shift is over, you go home. I go home to my comfy pillow and to my kids. And I go home to my comfy bed, although the bed here was pretty damn comfy last night, I gotta say. When the patient is just discharged, very often most of our liability goes away too. But for these family members, this is a 24-hour-a-day, 7-day-a-week job. We can't forget that. We can't forget that these guys don't get the break. They don't get let off the hook. Think about it. They're happy to know that their kid is arrested in jail because at least they know she's safe for the night. That's a true story that really did happen to a woman that I know. And that's a killer. A treatment plan without including the family is a flight plan without getting a weather report. Sorry, guys. Shameless plug. This is my new podcast, which, in honor of you all, it is premiering today. So you can check it out. Thank you very much. I'm happy with it. You may not be happy with the first. There was an article that came out a couple weeks ago where the administration wants to say that anybody who's a homeless vet who is has mental health issues will be involuntarily institutionalized, which I have a major problem with. So and that's the topic of this particular episode, all the problems that I have with it and the work that I did with the VA back years ago. But anyway, in the Holding Together kinda podcast, what we try to do is to point out the mess of the system, the messiness of the system. And what we try to find a message in it. My girlfriend gets mad at me because she says that, well, you don't have a call to action. She listens to all these podcasts that, they're going to give her this great resolution to a problem. And I think that's exactly, she gets mad at me because I dress up as a stewardess on top of, she gets mad at me for calling it a stewardess as opposed to a flight attendant too. But anyway, she gets mad at me because I don't offer a problem or a solution. And I say, I'm trying to offer a problem or a solution, but rather than being able to do that, the system is such a mess that all I'm doing is pointing out the messiness and I can't give you a message. And that's very true. We're just barely holding it together, kinda. And for these family members, that is so much more poignant and so much more important for all of us to remember. By the way, you can like and subscribe to the podcast and in Apple Play or Google Play, wherever you get your podcasts. Please join and tell your friends. I have come here with my shiny object, another shameless plug, called the Carekeeper Journal, which is a way for you as caregivers to keep track of every aspect of your loved one's care, the onset of illness, the medications that have been tried, the strategies, the plan A's and plan B's that have been tried along the years. But I also want to express the importance for you as caregivers, or your loved ones as caregivers, taking care of your parents, your spouse, your children, whomever, that you need to take care of yourselves. So this tool also contains in it helpful tools. It contains affirmations for you to reflect upon, things for you to study about your day so that you can start your day fresh. You can get yourself in a mindset of being proactive as opposed to being reactive all the time. I believe that came up in our last panel as well. When we react to every single moment of crisis and we're not prepared in being proactive about it, we are the most ineffective and inefficient we could possibly be. So we need to educate ourselves and stay on top of this so that we will at all times be self-advocates, well-educated, and promoting the needs of us, our family, and everybody that connects with us. This tool offers our metaphorical pilot the data that he needs to make in-flight adjustments, right? This tool, provided by the best historians of an illness, and tools like it are exactly what doctors need and want when you get to go to one of their high-end treatment planning meetings and whatnot. I've seen, they act like a kid at Christmas when a family walks in with a real good, we call it a timeline of the illness, and give us a history of what the illness is all about. By the way, we are coming out with a sister app for this program. It's already been designed. We're looking for testers. If any of you guys would like to test it, please come and see myself or my buddy Jim over there. We'd really like your help in testing it. And if you'd like to be a guest on my podcast, I'd love to have you. We're looking for guest panelists and things like that as well. So as we get ready for our final descent, I hope you guys will just remember to look at your patients, clients, your people differently. We aren't the pilots of their care, okay? We're the crew. The patient is the pilot. The patient tells us where they want to go. We help them to navigate to get there. And any good pilot has a strong co-pilot. And the families that I'm talking about, the caregivers that I'm talking about, are that co-pilot. As professionals, as caregivers, we need to remember to include these co-pilots and the pilots in the planning. When we stop the communication in plain language, we're essentially turning off the radar in the middle of a storm. We don't need another shiny object. We don't need another technical advance. We just need to figure out a way that we're going to manage the mess. So to all the providers out there, if we can get back to the basics, if we can get back to the history and the reporting that we rely on so much, and we respect the people who are in the captain's seat and the co-pilot seat, we can make sure that when things are really only kinda held together, the plane can still land safely. Remember, the people that you serve feel like they've been downgraded already, or they've been bumped off the flight entirely. They know that their luggage is going to get lost. They know they're going to miss their connection, and they really feel hungry and they really need some real food. So be the person that will help them with their overhead bags. Be the guy that will give up the armrest for a change. Be the guy that will give the little kid the seat or switch seats so a family could be together. And please be the guy that sits down and gets out of the aisle so we can get off the damn runway. Be part of the crew. Be part of the crew. Be a willing participant in the crew. And remember who all those other valuable members of the crew are. To the families and to anybody here, I've already spoken to a few people today who are caring for loved ones. For you guys, remember that you're not alone in this journey, that there's people who have been on this flight for a lot longer than you, and that you'll be here for a while and there'll be new people coming on board too. Talk to your neighbor. They might have some insight or some information that will blow your mind. And you might be able to tell them a story that will just enlighten them and fill them up with something that they needed to hear that day. This happens all the time. They're your allies. They're your best buddies. Sometimes they're just desperate to hear from another person. So my flight plan for you guys is this. Help those who stumble. That person that just stumbled, they may be the guy that pulls you into the life raft later on. Let others carry your baggage for you sometimes. And if you're strong enough, carry the baggage for them. Nap. When the speakers go off, nap. They're going to wake you up again at some point, but take a nap. Use the bathroom when it gets open, please. Take the cookies. Take the soda. Those Biscoff cookies are pretty damn good if you haven't had them. Take the moving sidewalk when you can. If you need help, ask for it. If you want to ride in one of those noisy little buggies in the airport, take it. And for God's sakes, just please remember every friend who's reached out to you, every family member who has asked you how they can help. Thank them and don't be afraid to ask them for the help. People really do care and do want to help you. They just don't know how to ask and how to offer it to you. So, on behalf of myself, the CARE Coalition, and your crew, thank you all for the work that you do. Have a great week here this week, and I hope that this was a little bit of fun or levity in an otherwise somewhat heavy topic.